Man's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? It's Dan French. It's a Saturday. Ver, what's up, buddy? Thanks for waiting in the waiting room. We know what time it is. It's the French workbench time, baby.
It's time to get ill.
I'm your host, Dan French, here streaming live from Las Vegas. We got a full show for you guys today, and a really good show, I think. We got a lot of good information. Going to talk about millennials and baby boomers, how they correlate. And also, we're going to talk about housing market statistics. And we're going to talk to Mr. Douglas over here. He's from Las Vegas Inspections. He's in here. He's going to talk about soils. He's going to talk about infrastructure. He's going to talk about how to start a custom home, I guess. I don't know. And if you guys, if you guys have not subscribed, please, if you're watching the video, if you like the content, subscribe to the channel. Also hit that like button. Man, we had a great night last night, didn't we, Brett?
Yeah, we did, man.
What happened last night, buddy?
I'm still feeling that I didn't even get to the gym today.
What happened last night, man? We just found ourselves at T-Mobile, huh?
T-Mobile, and we saw Korn and System of a Down.
Dude, it was cool, man.
Dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
Dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
Man, it was, they were good. I mean, Korn was awesome. Korn was awesome.
It was a little bit busier than I anticipated, I'll be honest. I thought it was going to be busy, but man, it was just packed.
It was booming down there, you know? But yeah, by the time I got home and had a few beers and, you know.
Did your deal.
Yeah, I did my deal, man. You got home later than I did. So
oh, yeah. I didn't go home. I just came right to the show.
In fact, you wore that outfit last night, didn't
Brett,
you?
you're not supposed to say that, man. You know
I saw
I mean?
you changing your shirt in there, man.
We also have Mr. Rick Raines here. Mr. Rick Raines, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? The guru, or the Mr. Guru, I guess.
I'm Rick Raines, bitch.
Of the housing market statistics and also of property management. What's going on, Rick?
Good morning. Everything's great.
Yeah.
Got a couple things happen this last week. I'm talking to another broker about merging our businesses together.
Nice.
So I got that happening.
Wow.
And
you didn't get me involved.
hey, there wasn't. There's no
Listen,
loan.
man, we don't need a lender.
No loan
lenders
necessary.
involved.
No loan necessary.
Real estate number one. No,
Well,
I was kidding.
yeah, but I'm talking about being an investor. I thought you were going to give me a cut. That's not going to happen?
No, it is. I'm going to cut you out.
Smart man.
I'm going to cut you out. I'm going to cut you out of something you didn't deserve in the first place.
So we also have Mr. Douglas Liebig. He's Las Vegas Inspectors. What's going on, Douglas? How are you, man? Thanks for coming in.
Good morning. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you. Appreciate you coming in. What's going on with you, man? How's
we're
life?
just staying busy. The homes are still selling, and we're staying busy.
You guys are staying at it, huh?
Yeah, staying at it hard.
So let's talk a little bit about you, man. You, where are you from? Are you from Vegas? Did you move here like everybody else?
Oh yeah, we moved here from somewhere else. We came here from Oregon about 96.
Yeah.
And so we've been here for a while. And I came down here with engineering.
Okay.
And was in the construction services for a while, and quality manager, that kind of thing. And worked on several projects around town. Did a lot of soils work, a lot of third-party inspection type stuff for commercial buildings, from concrete to steel to masonry, just you name it. We were involved pretty much from the ground up.
So you know everything structural,
Well,
basically, like with the foundation.
Yeah.
From the basic foundation of the soil and everything from that point, you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We get into the drilling, and then we
Okay.
do the grading, and then we do the concrete structure, framing structure.
Is that one of the, so what are one of the very first things you do? Like, I'm going to hire you. I'd say Amazon says, hey, we want to put up a huge warehouse in the north.
Yeah.
So
what they would do is they'd have to pull a permit to get the property. Then they'd have a geotech engineer go out there and do some drilling, find out what kind of soils you got underneath that building that you're gonna put up.
And then you have to base what kind of material or how you're gonna build it from that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna drill whatever specified depth that the geotech engineer wants
Gotcha.
to drill at. And then
Okay.
you're going to find out what kind of soils are in the ground. And then you take it to a lab, you test it.
Okay.
And then you go through and say, okay, well, you need to over-X this whole site like 3, 4, 5, 6 feet, whatever it is.
Over X, what's that?
Over excavating
Over excavate. Okay.
Yeah, over excavating a building site. Basically, you're gonna take it down and you're gonna put engineered fill back in.
Gotcha.
We're in
Gotcha.
we're in the purchase sequence of whether it be for places like Kobe Homes, Richmond American, or commercial. Where in the process does this fall? Because I'm assuming that someone who's going to put up an Amazon warehouse, that basically getting these soil samples and doing the drilling and figuring out what the initial costs are going to be is maybe prior to or part of the offer process. When does this happen? I mean, you go out and you spend $10 million on a lot, and then you figure you're going to spend I'm making up figures here, you're going to spend another $5 million on the foundation, but you find out the soil's crap and it's going to cost you 5 times as much. So where do you fall in
That's
the
probably
process?
done ahead of time.
Yeah, but
Isn't it?
where is it? I mean, how does that happen? come
Actually,
about?
we that will fall into after the purchase.
Really?
Yes.
So
Most of the time.
they're freaking rolling the dice.
Yeah, they're rolling the dice, and that's where the engineering part of it. Well, that's where the geotech engineers come in to do the economic efficiencies.
I'm assuming that's probably not
A big
so
deal
much of
here?
an issue in like Summerlin because it's all owned by Howard Hughes Corporation. Like that whole land is, right?
So if you take this valley, you look at this valley as a big dry lake.
Sure,
down,
yep.
Right. Geologically speaking, you're going to have in the bottom of the lake bed, you're going to have all the silt, the clay,
Okay.
all the crap, right?
Yep.
So that's going to require probably more engineering than, like, say, if you go up into Summerlin,
Or your
if you
higher
go-
elevation and stuff because you're not. I got you.
Yeah,
I
you
got
go,
you.
you go up
That
to
makes sense.
Anthem, and you're going to have boulders, cobbles, gravels, that kind of stuff versus silt, sands, and clays. And
Well-
so, and actually the when you're looking at the strip, you're only in some cases you're only 5 feet to water, and you're pumping. Like
Wow, that's amazing. So the
Are you
strip is
serious?
only
Wow.
5 feet down for water?
there's some
Yeah.
cases, yeah.
That's why
Wow.
that casino
No
at the end of the
kidding?
strip started tilting after they built it.
Yeah, they had an aquifer. They were built on an aquifer.
Yeah.
Which one?
Mandalay.
Yeah,
Mandalay Bay was built on an aquifer.
Yeah,
huh?
right after
They
they
all
built
are.
it,
Wow,
it
I
started
didn't-
doing one of these.
So how would they fix that? I mean, obviously, I don't know if you're
They had a
Very carefully.
start over.
Thank you. I'll be in town all week.
they start pumping it up,
Is that the they
they
pump it out like an air tire?
Pump it up, pump it down, down.
We need a little bit up on the right. Pump it a little bit up on the right.
Pump it! Pump it! All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Well, it was in the ENR, the Engineering News Report. It's a magazine or a periodical that comes out, and basically the county actually required them to go in and do a bunch of micropiles. So they had to go very deep. I don't know how deep.
What's a micropile?
Micropile is a.
I mean, obviously a small pile, but like in this context.
Are you talking
That's something a 2-year-old does as compared to you.
And tomorrow I'm going to work on vowels. All right. In context to this.
So anyway, you have a really small concrete column that you're putting in the ground to create friction.
Okay.
And you attach it to the foundation of the building. So you're going to be maybe a foot, 2 foot in diameter or whatever. And from what I understand is they drilled a bunch of micropiles and kept that thing from dropping any more than it did. So yeah, it's the surface, like the Link project, for example, that I was involved in. We hit water at I think it was 8 feet or something along those lines, and we had to keep pumping it to put the foundation in. I mean, it was a 12.
So how long does
14
it take to pump that out?
continuously? Yeah, I mean, it was continuously.
So you
pumped
get
and-
to a certain point where you can case in the foundation so no more water's ever going to get in there?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Right?
Would you be able to like tap into that? So like we all know we got a water shortage. What if the hotels started to tap into that underneath?
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Right?
Why are you
He doesn't want
smirking?
to answer that question.
Why are you smirking? Is the answer too easy or is it just political?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, how much water is
Like,
under
I mean,
the
shit,
strip,
man.
though?
8 feet down? Are you kidding me?
I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Is there a lot?
We're all bitching about Lake Mead and running out of water, and we've got 8 feet down on the strip.
Yeah. We got,
This is brand new information.
I know.
Man.
So what do they do with that situation? I mean, obviously,
They basically they're pumping it out back in. Well, I guess back into the lake eventually. Essentially, it goes.
It's going straight to the bars.
Yeah. So it was.
So let's talk about new homes, all right? Because everybody knows that this is financing real estate. By the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed, we want to earn your business. We want to work with you. We're all here on a Saturday to help you guys out, but we want to earn your business. Hit the like button. Also, subscribe if you haven't. We need subscribers. We want people to watch and tune in, get our information, right? But let's talk about housing because that's one of the topics we really talk about on the show. Talk about real estate. With your situation, right? Soils, getting the prep on the home, getting all the permits put in place. How does that process take place? Let's say if you got a builder that comes in and says, this is where we want to start building. This is our land right here. How does that whole process start working out for some of these builders?
Well, we were involved when I was in the consulting industry. We were involved in a few different projects. We did some Pulte projects. We did Avanti projects. And basically what these builders would do is they would hire a consulting company to come out, do the soils work. And then, we put the bid in to do kind of the post-tension slabs, any kind of masonry stuff that needed to be looked at by third party for county or for city work. So we were working with the builders to do all their inspections. So what they would do is they would come in, do the drilling. We would drill the site and figure out 20, 40 feet deep, and then figure out what it is, and then our geotech engineers would come in and they do the design. They say, okay, well, the soils look like this and they act like this, so we're going to need to over excavate like say 2 feet of soils in this area, or maybe 4 feet of soils, whatever the case may be. And then they bring engineered fill back in, which in a lot of cases would have to be tested. Like I had a lab that we would do testing on the soils to make sure that it met all the criteria for structural.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what engineered soil?
Yeah.
Where is this coming from?
It comes from everywhere. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to find some of these pits have soils that are better in some areas. You have soils that have high clay content. You don't want to use
So is
that.
this big business? In other words, are there big companies out there that engineer soil just for all the building that's going on?
No, it's not engineering the soil necessarily.
It's just what type of soil is going to be needed to complete that project for stability and stuff like that, right? So
Yes.
like fertilizer, right?
So
So there's different
they're not
kinds of
mixing
soil you
it.
can use, but you can use special soil for planting. You can use a special soil for like that, but
right, or
on a bigger
golf
scale.
courses.
A
for
golf
example,
courses, correct?
Is like different. So you go and you take the pits, the gravel pits would actually crush soils to meet the criteria.
Okay.
It's just like for cement.
Yeah.
Okay.
For like concrete and stuff like that, So so we would find a source, so to speak, and then we'd take it to the lab and we'd test it. We say, okay, well, it meets the criteria. It doesn't. It's low in sulfates, which this valley is high in sulfates, and it's actually a corrosive type.
So all these elements add
elements.
into play of what can corrode the
Correct.
soil and how quick and slow and all that.
corrode the concrete.
So it's scientifically you're seeing what elements are
in the
you
soils
need to
that you're
apply
gonna-
to.
Right,
Huh.
right, yeah,
Interesting.
exactly. And then And then the pits that they have, that we'll test the pits because they'll have like a gravel material that you can use. It's called Type 2 material. But they'll have gravel that they use, and that gravel has to meet the criteria that the county sets forth in the standards that they use to put in either under roads or under buildings or whatever, you know.
Yeah. So you look at these new homes and you're saying, well, you know, all these things that goes on. How many times do you see that they're building a new home and then maybe they didn't do the legwork up front, the scientific part of it, knowing the soil, and then now there's a foundation problem on these homes? I mean, does this happen a lot?
You know what? Maybe 20, 30 years ago, but today I don't really see it happening.
You don't see it happening? Because I've heard some people that say, you know, they bought a new home and then all of a sudden some things are shifting.
That
now,
was
is it
during
normal
the
shift?
last housing boom, though. That was like 03, 04, yeah.
But what is the shifting? Is it obviously
settling?
It's settling.
Settling,
but
yeah.
What is like? Is there a percentage of how much a home should shift?
Settle.
Settle.
Yeah, we'll go with settling.
They just eye it up.
Just
Just get the pump out.
That looks a little more. Yeah, it looks good.
Hey, we got it down to here. We're good.
We're called good enough soil. No.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, man.
They look at like a 5% settlement on any kind of structure. You want some kind of settlement going in there, and you want it all to settle together. So you don't want what you don't want is it the soil's so tight that there is no settlement in, because you could have what they call differential settlement at that point.
Sure.
Because it doesn't settle at the same
So
rate.
it's not settling naturally; it's forcing itself,
Right.
Which is not going to be the same as
Do they allow for more settlement on properties where the ground has been built up? So as an example, my house up in the lakes, we're at the end of a cul-de-sac, and I literally sit like 8 feet, 10 feet above the street on the back level because of the way they graded it. And when my house settled, it settled like 4 inches. And,
that's quite a bit. Yeah.
Fortunately, right
away, you're like.
but fortunately, it all went at the same time, so everything remained flat. But you know, there's a couple of very hairline cracks. So I mean, it did well.
Yeah, the one thing that they do as well with these newer homes now, starting in the 90s. I know we came in the 90s, and that was where I started the construction with here. And one thing that they do is they put post-tension cables in the slabs, and that's huge. They proved it in areas that had 50% swell in their soils, and back in the Midwest, and it did well. I mean, it's basically like a piece of paper, and you put reinforcing through the piece of paper. It's not going to settle out different. Like those cables are going to keep that slab together, even though concrete gets hard and it cracks.
Yeah.
It's still going to kind of move together because the cables that are tensioned at like 33,000
It's like if you see
PSI.
anybody who puts a new tree in their yard and it's a smaller tree and they got the ropes from the sides coming up to it.
Yeah, it's
just
kinda,
like that, right?
Kind of something like that.
All right.
Yeah, because they're stress. If you can picture it, they're taking these cables through the slab.
Okay.
And then they take and tension those cables to 33,000 PSI. So then it's pulling that slab together.
Okay.
And then if it does crack, it's gonna crack, and those cables are actually a structural support.
I got you.
What,
So-
you used a word that you said swell.
Yeah.
That the ground swells. What causes? I'm assuming swelling is expansion.
Yes, it is.
So what causes the ground to swell?
So
The earth is a living, breathing organism.
yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
Well, yeah. So you get
It is. I'm not trying to.
that's why it likes to spit up every once in a while, right? Yeah. The expansion of soils comes from, if you can kind of picture it with clays. Clays have particles that are flat and elongated and hold water. When it starts holding water in those flat, elongated pieces, then you only have three elements to the soil. You have air, water, and soil, right? Okay. And so then you start saturating with soil. Well, those elements are going to start growing with the soil, so you're saturating those elements or those particles.
Sorry.
You're going to start saturating those particles, and that's what creates the swell. So now you got sand. If you got sand, you look at sand as like two fists coming together. There's no room for the water to stay or to grow that sand. It just basically capillary action keeps that sand together, kind of like at the beach.
Yeah.
Where, with water, you can build a sand castle. With no water, you got a pile of sand.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I got a new question.
Can't Jedi mind trick that?
I got a new question for you. With all of these different soils, one of the things that we're constantly discussing is new home prices, builders' prices, things like that. So when we started this discussion, we were talking about whether or not what you find and drill makes a big difference in how much the cost is going to be on the project. Do you know, I don't necessarily expect you to know this, do you know if some builder has to spend X amount of X millions, how much that impacts the sale price on new homes? In other words, different lots, different builders in different areas of town, do they get like an opportunity just because of where the thing sits to sell for less because they're not having to do so much grading and all that?
Yeah, I'm not real familiar with the cost end of what the
That's
builder,
after his point.
Right, I realize that.
Yeah, but I can assume just from how many homes that are being built, because I have done commercial projects where we've had to go. Like North Las Vegas, we found fissures, what they call fissures. Fissures are areas of...
Yeah, I was going to say that's the one area that I did hear that in the past.
Yeah, they could be a little bit of a problem. They got basically drawdown wells. Well, all the wells were up in North Las Vegas, and then you have what they call...
What do you mean where all the wells were?
Well, they used to have a bunch of wells. Nellis used to run on wells. I mean...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was a lot of, back in the day, everybody had a well. Everybody had well, and everybody had septic, right?
But it affected the soil up there versus the other areas of the city that
because you have the clays and the soil.
Gotcha. Or what you're saying about with the settlement for
Okay. So where was that?
Sorry, man.
So that's
It's all right.
where was that?
The soil in North Vegas.
So soil in North Vegas. Okay, so what we did was we had to go, instead of going 3 feet over X, we found fissures up there. We had to go like 12 feet, 14 feet before we had to chase the foundation for a U-Haul building. We had to chase that down like 14 feet before we could start filling back because the ground was separated, cracked. And so I don't know, I haven't been in the industry for probably over 10 years, but I would assume from what I do know that we're into some pretty decent soil. I mean, we're not in anything like we were getting into some heavy clays. We have in some of the areas because when I first got here, there was no, like up in Summerlin, for example, there's no Banbury Cross. I was out in the pucker brush going across the rocks and the deadheads, and everything.
But that's what I'm trying to say is like, so all the other land, for the most part, unless it's privately owned, is government land that they're releasing to be sold.
Right.
All of Summerlin and all that ever will be Summerlin is owned by the same company and always has and always will.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they know their soil from beginning to end, or at least they'll get out there ahead of time before they release it to sell, and they're knowing what kind of soil they're selling.
Yeah. Well,
in a sense, I mean, they've controlled it all for...
Well, the other thing you can do, too, is all this stuff is mapped. Like all the geotech engineering that they've done in the valley. So like if you have a section here that is a certain type of soil, and you have a section here that's a certain type of soil, and then you extrapolate, you can extrapolate or interpolate or whatever, and you can figure out kind of what the soil's doing. So then you're not going to have any big anomalies, I guess, because of all the work that's been done here in the last 30 years.
You got a place like California, they have issues with soil. Like, is it harder to deal with them as far as because the moisture and the air and all the things that goes on?
I think they have a different, I mean, soils are soils, and basically what you're doing is you're going to want to test them, and there's all different types of construction that you can do, like piers. You're going in with piers, like say if you're on the coastline, I haven't really done much in California, but they can go the deep foundation piers and hold the foundation like that, and maybe I don't know what the over-X is there.
San Andreas fault.
Yeah, just build right on top.
All into the ocean.
So let's talk about the
That's the soil.
framing of a new home, right? So you do you deal with a lot of the framing part of it, or not really?
I don't really do anything with the framing. That's more of a city jurisdiction.
Okay.
That's where the city comes in. So when we were doing new homes, what we do is we'd go in, we'd do the grading, do the compaction on it, make sure that it was all compacted and properly compacted, and then the slabs would go in on the houses, and we'd look at the slabs, we'd test the concrete, make sure that they had the right concrete in there.
Absolutely. And
then you had the post tension cables that we would look at, and then from that point on, at the top of the slab, you would have more. It was more city's jurisdiction to come in and sign off on that as the builder would go through the permit. So they did most of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, framing, and the builder would have to make sure that they had all their permits signed off before they could start the next phase of their.
Is it pretty hard to screw up the soil, drilling, etc.? In other words, you go through this whole process, they get ready to lay the foundation, the inspector comes out and goes, "Oh man, you guys, this is all wrong." Does that ever happen? You got any stories like that?
So, I guess
You guys probably know more than the inspector, I would assume.
well, we're more involved.
Yeah.
We're more involved because there is like in the consulting industry, you are a third party contractor,
But you're being paid specifically by somebody.
by the builder,
yes.
by the developer, by
Yes.
the contractor. In some cases, in public works, they'll
Yeah.
hire
Yep.
us as well, or and so we.
So if you get some screwy inspector, do you get to have a do-over with somebody else?
Like appraisers?
Yeah, like appraisers.
I want
Can you
another
say,
one.
wait a minute, I want a different guy?
I need another one.
No.
You redraw that name out of that hat?
You got to work with them
'Cause that's the city, right?
Yeah, it's a city. That's
So,
a county. And
the city chose them.
So
Good
if
luck
you
into
piss
the
this-
government.
If you piss this guy off,
yeah, if you piss in his weed,
You're not pissing him off. You're pissing off the government. That's the thing about that. You're just not one person. They're representing a whole system. You're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to go through.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends that went to the building department. They're good. They're good guys though, and there's some there's maybe some that are a little harder to get along with, but for the most part,
That's where learning to play well in the sandbox comes into play.
Right? Yeah, don't shit in the sandbox.
Play nice in the sandbox. Don't shit in the sandbox. Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as framing goes, I don't have a lot to do with that. On the commercial end of it, we would do when I had my consulting company, we would do from the ground up grading. We would do concrete. We would do steel framing. I had welding inspectors and bolting inspectors. And we did some roofing inspections, some of the roofing membrane inspections.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so we pretty much covered a lot of different things.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys have any more questions for Douglas over here?
No, man. I mean, it's very informative.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it makes complete sense what you're saying is find what kind of soil we need, and then
Well, the
depending
builder,
on
the
the elements
builders
that's
do
in
it.
that soil and the foundation,
Yeah.
getting the right combination, but mathematically, basically together or scientifically,
Scientific, yeah,
to
Is
to
there
make it add up.
is there any stories that you know that, let's say that somebody did the foundation work like that, and then there's a stream of history or maybe some things that happened in a specific, like let's say neighborhood,
Fontainebleau.
something. Fontainebleau. But is there
was that one
something?
that was
Have you seen something where they maybe messed up and just didn't put
Yeah.
the right foundation? What how does that work? How do you guys fix that?
Well, it's interesting. That's a good point. We had some houses that were up in North Las Vegas that were built on a landfill area that I know they had some issues with differential settlement, and
I can tell you a story about that. When we came out here to buy, we went to North Las Vegas looking at new homes. Went inside this new home. I'm like, this is a nice layout. And I walked out the patio sliding glass door. I am not joking. I stepped on the ground and my leg went all the way down to my knees. Yeah.
What?
How did that happen?
They were building. They built the homes there.
Yes, and I turned to my wife, and of course she was falling in love with the place. I said,
Oh,
no,
my
no,
God.
we're not. I don't care how this is set up. This ain't right." And
was that kind of in the northeast
Yes.
area of North? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I think I know what you're talking about.
So they had a landfill over there. I don't know if that was on the landfill or not, but they had I did a couple actually resale inspections. So I did, the agent hired me to go and do the inspection on it, and they were really concerned about the soils. Well, I said, well, get me the geotech report, and I'll take a look at the geotech report and see what kind of issues they had when they were grading or drilling or whatever,
Yeah.
And so so anyway, they had like you said, they had the corner of the house was sitting about, like you said, about 4 inches lower on one side than the other, and you could actually see it. And the geotech report said that the remediation on that, or the remedy for that, was I believe it was a retaining wall that went 4 feet below the foundation of the house, like 12 inches wide, went below so the foundation's here, and then the retaining wall went below the house and went completely around the house.
So basically, a new foundation.
Well, kind of.
I mean, a shell of one.
A shell of one, and it was just right outside the actual building.
So
pad.
what does something like that cost?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what
The
cost
answer:
is.
a lot of money.
A lot of money. Yeah. And I'm sure people were compensated for it.
Oh, dude, that's
it's
like you
basically-
don't even have to be an attorney to win that lawsuit.
it's basically like a cast for the leg for
Yes.
for the house to hold everything together.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's scary, man.
So things don't, like the water doesn't crawl under the house.
Or the other goes out.
Or goes out, or, yeah. So you're
So here's the thing.
yeah.
You got to sell that house someday. You need to put that in the SRPD, or you're supposed to.
You know, the funny thing is,
They didn't have it then.
they did. And they sold it with that. And,
Shut
and-
up.
And the guy bought it. Yep.
Wow.
And even after I
What's
told
T. Barnum say? There's a sucker born every day.
Right?
I mean, case in point.
yeah, I mean I would have not just walked. I probably would have ran from that one. Yeah,
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's not as crazy as having the balls to do that and think you can get away with it.
Right?
And even ballsier is they did.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back in the. I think that house was built in the early '90s.
Capitalism.
That's when
God
I
bless
was
it.
looking, 1989.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I know what you're talking about. Crazy, man.
yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to segue to a different topic here because I want to go over this with Rick. We also have to talk with Mr. Brett Jenny over here about real estate. So first off,
Mr. Real Estate Man.
We have a Ver Star here said, I'm going to pump you up. Now, we're about to go into property management, right?
He's gonna pump.
Oh.
And I want Mr. Rick Raines
Zoo up.
to throw up the guns real quick and say, I want
Rick.
to pump you up
I want to pump
you up.
you
with
up.
some property management information. Let's hear what's going on, buddy.
Oh my God, things are still slowing down, but at the same time, slowing down from the standpoint that property's not moving as quickly. We went up again another 2% this week.
Yeah.
And Brett's going to get into the sales end of it.
Oh, yeah.
Another one of the things I wanted to bring up to any owners out there that are listening in, the city of Las Vegas has a program now called RAFT, R-A-F-T.
Okay.
And that is basically the city's version of CHAPS. And what's interesting is that it allows landlords to apply for unpaid or future rent on behalf of their tenants, which is really interesting. And of course, there's some parameters to it. You've got to live within the city limits, and they also have income qualifications. So they look at the median income for the city, and right now, that's been posted at basically $73,000 per household, and you can't make more than 80% of that. All right, which works out to be about $4,900 a month. And the other thing is, if you are below 50% of the AMI, you get priority. Okay, or if you've been unemployed for 90 days. But the cool thing about it is, landlords or property managers, if you need a property manager to do this for you, we can get the whole process started. So that's called RAFT. And so I wanted to bring that up because that's
important.
That's a pretty cool deal going on, and they'll do it for up to 18 months.
What is the
I
average
understand.
wait time, would you say, for somebody that's trying to find a property to rent right now? I know it's all case by case, but give you like maybe a good analogy or maybe a good estimation.
To actually get into a property, assuming that you have average credit, average everything, really not that long, because there's a lot of property sitting on the market right now.
There is. I thought there was a shortage, and I thought increases of rents are going up, so people were really skeptical about that. Also, that you see a lot of properties that are it's scarce out there, just like it is for buying a home.
Well, like I said last week, that portion of it, the amount of tenants that are looking for places as we get into the holidays, slows down. It contracts. So we have more properties that are available right now, and being able to find a place as compared to 6 months ago, right now it's gotten pretty easy. So
yeah, let's talk a little bit. I want to talk about something. So we've seen an increase. This is not here in Las Vegas, but this is nationally. You have Americans age 60 and over have been more active in the housing market than those of the same age 10 years prior to. You look at 2009 to 2019, the share of recent buyers who are 60 years old grew 47%. So that's what I'm talking about, man. You guys are duking it out right now with the millennials out there because...
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, baby boomers are back in and they're buying homes
and they have
abundance.
money.
Yeah.
So they have money and they've bought enough homes and been around long enough to know that when the bottom dropped out, they're like, holy, this is a cheap house.
Yeah.
And they you know, I mean,
well, but I think too,
and they have money, so anywhere, you know, like 2009, 2010, 2011, I understand maybe not that many buying, but you get to 2012, 2013, 2014, you're still cheaper and you're seeing things recover. I mean, you're buying like, you know.
Well, you're looking at, I want to say this too, is about, you go back, let's say 20 years. When I was thinking of somebody that was like in their 50s or 60s, I was like, man, that's old, right? I'm like, I don't know what's going to be. What am I going to look like?
I know, dude, I'm 45,
right?
and I was like, dude, I remember at one point I was like a grandpa.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, okay, when I'm 55, 60,
bitch.
65, what am I going to be doing? Am I going to be like looking for a group home at that point or getting close?
Can you even still walk when you're 50? I mean,
maybe you. Maybe you.
I know. I was thinking that last night at that concert. I was like,
yeah,
Jesus
it's like,
Christ.
so I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, man, what's going to happen to me? But then you're like, you look at today.
Checking out wheelchairs.
This guy over here's got bigger guns than all of us. You know, he's working out.
Hey,
and
man,
and he's buying.
Age isn't anything but a number, though.
So I think you're seeing a lot of baby boomers out there buying homes.
But what's 40, 50's the new 40, 40's the new
That's what
30,
I'm
and so
saying.
like 65's the new 45.
I mean, Rick's turned into a flipper, right, Rick? So
Rick is 69. Rick is 69, but he's really 45, and I'm 25.
But you look at it. So why do you think that the baby boomers are in competition now? And it's not just millennials; it's everybody. But they're looking at it on each spectrum, right? Millennials versus, let's say, baby boomers.
The whole thing boils down to we're living longer. actually.
Yep.
You're living longer, and there's more opportunity. The baby boomers have got the money, and they're not sitting idle anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I remember this scene from Mike and Molly where I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Yeah.
But mom has started dating again, and it's really bugging her son, who's probably in his late 30s,
Yeah.
early 40s. And his partner goes, "Hey, it's a new world out there with that blue pill."
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
you know,
That blue pill's amazing.
Well, it's you're right though. It's a whole new mentality though. It's a fresher mentality. It's like, instead of being, I'm 60 and that's it, and it's like people are saying, no, man, I'm just getting started. So
Well,
it's like I'm ending one thing and going into the next.
This actually
exactly
was
right.
brought up last night at dinner when I was talking to this other real estate broker.
You guys are talking about Little Blue Pill?
No,
Man, what does that have to do? I mean, I guess.
It's
it's
whatever.
the group, man. It's like a
It's the-
sorority.
it's the family.
The
It's the
Little Blue Pill
family.
group.
Once you're in the know, you're in the know. Little Blue Pill. That's the way to go.
But what they brought up,
Commercialize that. Viagra.
Brett, slow down, buddy.
Sorry. My bad. I'm sorry.
He's
I got-
gonna get to the details. All right.
It's only another 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You can
I apologize.
Take a breath. But anyway, so they were discussing their clientele, and she said most of them are senior citizens, and they're still buying property.
That's what I'm saying. Like
That's
you
what I'm
see it
telling
out
you.
there.
It came up last night at dinner.
A lot of clients that I'm working with are in that age group, you know, and then you're like thinking, well, shoot, should I market to them now? Because like I wasn't marketing them as much, but they typically got the money, they got the time, they got all the resources, right? They put more time
Absolutely.
into it.
I think instead of coining them senior citizens, I think you should call them experienced citizens from now on.
Experience. No, that's really good. And you know
I
what?
think somebody
Hey,
doesn't want to get business.
and because they have the money, they don't throw up as much resistance to you because they have the money
And they've bought
before.
before,
And
so
they know what's going
They
on.
know what's going on, dude. You just got to be there
Well,
to
they-
service, give them good service.
Yeah, they
That's
blocked
it.
through the BS.
Yeah, I'm shifting my mindset, man. It's
they're
all
more
about
appre-
baby boomers now.
And they're more appreciative
My whole
of,
thing is
of
baby
people who are
boomers.
directed to the point.
Well, you know,
know?
it's like I'm 56. My kids are grown. I'm just getting started, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm taking
Yep.
I'm taking from the time I was 24. I'm taking off.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
You're-
now you're like all these things that have been in the back of your mind.
I
Hey,
think
man.
the intro to your show, you need to shoot some early 60s and late 60s music on there.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what you need
There
in
you
there.
go.
After every closing, you send them a little blue pill in the mail. Give them a wink. I got you. Enjoy the house.
Yeah. enjoy your housewarming. I got you. Dude, that would be classic. I mean, would that not be a marketing practice
that would
that
be
would stick
great.
out in their minds?
Yeah, that would be
Who the hell's not going to... Dude, my realtor sent me a Viagra. Dude, I closed on the house, and I'm a single guy. No, I'm kidding.
All right, so what do you think, man? So you're seeing this then? You're seeing a lot of people then because
Of
you
course.
got groups out there. Are you seeing this too out there, Doug?
Oh yeah.
You're seeing it a lot too,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Brett?
I'm only 25. I don't know anything about,
Don't know anything.
I don't know anything about these old people.
Right. All right, I want to say one
That's
other
like-
thing here. We're going to talk with Brett here. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead,
was just
Doug.
gonna say most of the clients are either they're young or they're retired. You know, I mean, the retirement age. You know, at the 60 age. There's like not a lot of in between going in right now.
Yeah.
Doing the home inspection form.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And we got Mr. VegasCoin.Vegas. He's saying avocado toast.
Avocado toast.
Hey, that's what
Avocado
Tom Brady does, right? That whole avocado.
Where's,
Like he's got like some type of avocado, or not avocado, but it's like I don't know, some vegetable pajamas. I don't know what it is.
Avocado toast.
Hey man, I'm telling you, living longer.
You know, when I was getting my thing at Jamba Juice today,
Yeah.
I was gonna get wheatgrass shot.
Oh,
You ever
really?
do that?
No.
I used to do that for a while.
Does it
and I was
really
thinking
help,
about
though? Is it
bringing each of
mental?
you guys in some wheatgrass, a shot of wheatgrass for each one of you guys.
And a blue pill.
No, wheatgrass is all you need. That'll wake you. That's like, that's inside your body going, hello, good day. What the hell's going on?
All right, let's talk about mortgage rates, guys. So we see mortgage rates going up, right? So what do you guys see about what's happening out there with the mortgage rates?
First of all,
why is it going up? Everybody's like, okay, I'm not going to refi anymore.
Yeah.
Listen, if you got equity in your home, refi it if you want to pay off some
First
debt,
of all,
right?
What's the interest rate at right now?
I think it's like 6.5%.
No, it's not.
It's just like,
Oh, that's
probably
normal.
It's probably in the mid. I would say low to mid threes, but it's still a good rate.
It's
And
it's still
look,
a good rate.
I think everybody's like, well, I'm going to take a break. Maybe the holidays are coming, but guys, there's still an opportunity if you haven't refinanced. I think maybe some of the that's gone. You know, people have.
I think a lot of people who are going to did.
Well, I mean, but there's still a ton of people out there that want to refi or could. And I think it's just, is it the timing or do people are real sensitive about rates? But we see rates going up. You know, I see people thinking it's still in the twos and it's not in the twos.
What would
anymore.
your suggestion be?
As far as refinancing? Well, look, if you got higher debt on other things, or let's say you got that $800 or $1,000 car payment that's not leased, you know what I mean? Then maybe you consider taking care of that.
What I'm saying is, if it makes sense to refi right now, it's to your benefit. I would probably suggest, and I'm sure you would too, is do it now and not say, oh, well, I think it's going to go down again for the interest rate.
No, it's not.
It's not going to. Like, if you qualify for it and you want to do it, I would do it now because you're not going to really find it any cheaper.
Like we discussed last week.
Last year you could, but that's not last year.
Yeah.
No, last week we discussed Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is saying it's going to continue to go up. So there isn't a reason for you to wait.
Why are you getting credit for my joke? We're going to steal right back. That's Verstar.
Vera said that Vegas got credit for his joke. So either way, man, you guys are contributing. So you're making us laugh here in the
studio. They're arguing copyrights on our live stream.
I love the input, man.
Capitalism, I love it.
But you know, you look at rates. So what do you think is? I mean, you think inflation's above 5, right? In some readings that we've had come out, do you think that rates are going to go up to really counter that, right? To bring that inflation down. That typically slows the economy. Yeah. What do you think? You think that's going to happen, Rick?
I don't think that small increases in the interest rate are going to have a huge impact on inflations per se. I think there's too many factors causing inflation in the shortages that we're seeing all over. The transportation industry, I mean, that's a huge industry, all impacted. The airline is impacted. Everything's being impacted right now. It's not just one thing. And I don't think a very small bump in the interest rate is going to have much of an effect.
Or the elephant in the room, let's just keep hitting that money printing button.
Yeah, that's
not.
Let's just keep printing money.
That's part of the deal.
Let's just keep printing money.
Rates and you're going after nothing. Actually.
Yeah, so they're just correcting the Band-Aid on the arm cutoff.
Right.
But how many and that's like that's what I mean. That's the elephant in the room, which is let's just push that money button, that money printing button, and that'll fix it.
Well, we all agree though rates aren't going to go anywhere, right? I mean that's what we're seeing, and we're seeing rates go up.
But the government,
I know, but they
does it?
No.
Oh,
no, I don't
thought
think that works that way.
Explain
like
what your thoughts are on that.
I just think that if you keep raising interest rate, where are you going to get the money from? I mean,
just print more.
You're leveraged out.
Just print more.
It's kind of like an engineering problem, right?
Yeah.
Well, what people don't know is that.
No, I know. I'm being facetious. Yeah, you know.
So you leverage out. You leverage out too far.
That's what we're trying to say, which is you know, it can only rob from Peter to give the Paul so many times.
Yeah.
Before.
Well, let's put it this way. So people don't know that they were actually paying. When you look at the interest that's made off of buying bonds, because they buy a ton of bonds, right? Yeah. They buy a lot of treasuries. Talk about the Fed. So they have the ability to continue to do that because they keep buying bonds. They keep suppressing rates low. The interesting thing is going to be, can they actually raise rates, and how does it affect the economy to compensate for the inflation problem that we have? And it's a good point. I mean, they're trying to pass that $5 trillion infrastructure bill, right? That's going to not have an impact. I mean, look, it's not going anywhere, I don't think, but they're still introducing these bills, right? If one does get passed, first off, what's the point of it? And then the other thing is, what is the impact it's going to have on the economy overall? You know, like I think that's what people have to look at. Yeah. Right. I mean, because I think it's going to impact rates. Man.
That's deep.
Yeah. I think it's what Brett brought up last week. I think that a lot of this stuff that gets passed, there's stuff under the table that is impacting politicians, their family, friends.
That's most of it.
Yeah. That's where the money ends up.
I mean, this latest spending bill that they want to do. I mean, it's like.
Where do you get the money?
It's like 2,000 pages or something.
Yeah.
No, I know.
There's no way in hell any one of them or their aides or anybody read even a tenth of it, let alone So they're all admitting they didn't read it and they're passing bills on stuff.
What are your thoughts?
Go ahead, man.
You got something to say over here, Doug?
Yeah. No, well, it's the same thing. The whole Obamacare thing, it put us into a tailspin. We went from paying $500 a month for our health insurance, and they wanted to pass it and read it later, and it's like you said, 2,500 pages worth, and
There's
then all of a sudden
it's impossible. No one's gonna.
My insurance went up to $2,500.
So
a month.
I want to know is
exactly.
who's the how does that get put together? Like, who the hell is in
Where do you
collaboration?
get the money from?
Like, because someone's got to present a 2,000-page bill.
Yeah.
So are they like, okay, I'm waiting for your 100 pages over here, and then I'm waiting for your 150 pages here, and like, who is the centerpiece behind organ? Like, holy cow, man! You want to talk about someone who's pretty good at research or doing? I mean, like, where does that come from? Who is that role? Who is that person? Because
I think it's all been written in the past. My personal.
But who puts it together?
It's
and
all
like,
been written in the past, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, take that one."
But that's what I'm saying is who decides? Oh, let's take that 110 pages from 3 years ago, and let's take this is our time to get that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Here's an example, and I don't have the specifics on it as far as names, but this is the kind of thing that goes on. So in Florida, and I had my Florida broker's license, one of the laws that they had there is that if you were a government employee, you had to get drug tested every so often. When they got that passed, there weren't any drug testing agencies or companies in town. But when they passed it, guess what? The governor had drug testing, and all of it had to go through his company.
Right.
So that's the point I'm trying to make.
They all had to go through.
Yeah, they had to go through his company.
Miraculously, they had to all go through.
And I wonder who put
company.
that
Rehab.
together, right? So we're all in agreement, though, that the rates, we'll go back to this section, the rates itself are going up. I don't feel they're going to go up beyond 3.5% to 4% in the short-term period. Mm-hmm. I also feel that the Fed is going to have to step in if inflation does become a problem, which it already is. Yeah. How are they going to start to bring that down? Because the data I was reading was fourth quarter, we're going to start to see inflation come back down. We were thinking, well, because we don't have enough people, suppliers, and people to deliver goods and services, that these rates or the inflation number is going to be inflated for the short window time here, maybe the first, second, maybe even into the third quarter. You're looking at the fourth quarter now heading into it, right? I think we're just kind of dabbling into it, and now we still see the same numbers. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see what they're going to do. But if you want to refinance or if you're looking to purchase, it's still cheap money. We know what rates were. Rick, you've seen rates at what the highest level you've seen rates at?
19%
That's crazy.
Think about that. And people still bought homes.
Still did.
I mean, think about that.
I know.
18%. So
Yeah, but homes were like $20,000.
yeah, but it's all relative. People,
all relative.
I know,
yeah,
right?
but people
Yeah.
were making $15,000 a year.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's true.
And that
Yeah,
was a
so
good
the money-
salary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
my mortgage payment was 187, and
Well, you made $250.
and we could barely make it.
Yeah.
Well, look, if people are going to stop buying homes too, if rates do go up, because if you look at the cost of the home, now you have to factor in a higher rate.
Well, that's the thing. So
now we're at, right?
Let me ask you a question. As a lender, what is the difference on, say, a $400,000 mortgage between 3% and 18%? What's the difference in payment?
That's like to the moon.
What would it be?
I mean, it could be. It depends, but it could be. I would say at least $500 to $500 to maybe $700. I would say. I don't know. It's just kind of throwing
for
it
the same house.
Yeah, for the same house.
There you go.
It does play a big impact, and it'll have a big psychology effect on people buying a house.
That's the thing. Psychologically, 18%, dude.
Yeah.
There's no buy. I mean, you couldn't get away with that in this day and age.
Absolutely.
It's just,
people jump for joy when it goes down to percent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is people who never bought before,
Yeah.
who bought in the last year, who have no idea buying the interest rate that they did. Dude, you have no idea how well you did.
Our first loan was it was a VA loan, and it was I think it was like 11%.
Yeah.
So look,
and you thank God at the time.
Yeah, I know it was good.
I know.
I could.
Yeah.
I mean, we got
Crazy,
cheap
right?
money, so I would say take advantage of it while you can. I know people are sensitive, but this is the first time that we've seen rates this high since April of this year. And it doesn't mean a lot. It does mean that pay attention, right? Maybe be focused on it.
Yeah.
Rick, you got anything else to say about property management?
No. Actually, I do.
I do, but
I do, but
he's passing the baton.
I'm passing the baton.
Let's go over to Brett. Excuse me, Brett. Here you go, buddy. What's happening over here?
Not much, man.
So let's talk about what's going on in the real estate world. Take me into the mindset of somebody out there that's looking for a home. And also, how many properties do we have in the market right now?
I'm going to become like water.
Come on. Let's see the genie of real estate come out.
Okay, here's what I found.
The guru.
27% of all the loans in the entire country, not Vegas, but across the entire country, have been affected by low appraisals, which is kind of what we were talking about before with everybody overpaying. Is basically what they're saying is out of all the loans in this past year for real estate, 27% of them, when they got into contract, had appraisal issues as far as appraisals coming in lower.
So this is going to impact everybody, really. I mean, is it going to impact the new housing market, though? Because if you're out there buying a new home...
The thing about it is it didn't really affect the market because then you had cash buyers stepping in that were willing to do that.
I see.
I mean, it's not like, oh, well, then these homes came back on the market and they couldn't sell because no one was willing to do that. People were then willing to do it. So that kind of took care of that self. It's just interesting in context of what we were talking about last week as far as appraisals coming in lower.
Yeah.
In fact, over a quarter of them this past year were affected by appraisals coming in lower. But think about the percentage increase, 18, 19, 20% in this past year. And I mean, only 25% had appraisal issues. That means that a lot were still giving it the value going forward too, though.
So now you're starting to see a shift a little bit is what we're seeing.
Well, we're coming into
appraisals
it. Yeah,
are
we're
going to
coming
be more conservative now because the market is softening here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much mentally they take that in consideration or not. At the end of the day, they still have to go by numbers and how they do their appraisals.
But they look at what's sold. So if you start to see homes drop and then you start to see sales of homes drop,
but then they're looking at the numbers.
Yeah.
So we're coming into the winter, and interest rates are going up a little bit. So we just ran the actives, and there were like 4 homes.
Well, let's look at this. So you got right here.
Between last week and this week, there were like 4 or 5 homes that added onto the market. Yeah. I mean, there were more, but then you had that many that were closing.
Well, let's take a look at it because I want to bring this up real quick. Let me log into the MLS here, and we'll take a look.
I think it was like 3804 or something.
Yeah, but are we going to do all of just single family, or are we going to do
That's
everything?
Just single family. I mean, I'm not doing condos and townhouses. Because that's a whole nother conversation which we can have, but that's not the one we're having.
Well, let's do this. So we're going to look at this real quick.
Yep. So just go down there, and you've got
47.
Oh, well, you just what do you have it to?
That's everything.
That's everything.
That's
okay,
everything.
So just go up to residential.
Okay, so if we hit just residential,
single family. Sorry, yeah, right there.
Right there. So 3851.
3651.
No, 3851.
3851.
So what does that say? I mean, does it really increase that much over time?
No, I mean that's what I'm saying. So that's 4 more homes on the market than last week. So obviously more than 4 homes got listed in the past week, but you had just as many closing.
Yeah,
correct.
So it washes itself out. I mean, but you're not. So think about this: you're not seeing multiple offers. I mean, like let me give you an example. I listed a house last week in the Northwest, right off of Sky Canyon, 475 pool, like 2,100 square feet in immaculate condition. Great backyard, all that stuff. We had it listed at 475. We finally got an accepted offer yesterday, and we ended up getting 3 offers, right? Uh-huh. But they didn't come in until 4 or 5 days after we had it on the market. It even went through the weekend with an open house and all that stuff and not getting any offers.
The
if this was 6 months ago, that thing would have, first day would have had 20 offers.
We had, we listed
we got accepted full price,
5 new
but
properties
it was
last week.
How many properties?
We listed 5 last week in our little office, and not one offer on any of them.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's starting to turn
What
a
were
lot.
the price points?
About the same.
Yeah.
About 450.
And so the only thing that's saving grace on mine is that it's the sellers did an amazing job with updating everything on the inside, and it's got a really awesome pool in the backyard.
Yeah.
That's the saving grace, and that's what made it sell. So it's still going to sell full price. But like I said, it took over a week, and it took 3. I mean, the first 3 offers were below. So they were 15 below.
So
Let's put it that way.
That's the same thing I was saying in the rental market. You got the properties coming on, and you've got opportunity now to pick up whatever it is that you want.
Yeah. So anything else, Brett? Anything else you got going on out there in real estate?
No, man. I sent you that article earlier this week about the NFT.
Yeah.
Kind of getting the crypto thing real quickly. Is there was a lender that basically somebody wanted to borrow money to buy more crypto. So for collateral with this crypto lender is they put up their NFT as collateral.
Yeah.
The long and short of it is they didn't pay the loan back, and the person was able to get their NFT. So here's the way that was set up, was basically, I'm going to loan you X amount of, let's say, US dollars in a sense, right?
Sure.
And you're going to use your NFT as collateral. So it's set up in the NFT, whereas if that guy didn't pay it back, that collector didn't have to go through the whole process of what he had to do legally to get to collect on that loan. It was automatic in the NFT and programmed in there, where if something wasn't paid by a certain date or what it was, the NFT automatically transferred ownership to the
other
collector.
person. So it's almost like a digital
Yeah,
contract
so it's like
that says,
so like a loan.
Right.
You go to loan a house, you give somebody a mortgage loan. The lender could eventually have it set up someday so that all the the person doesn't need to get foreclosed on. They don't pay their loan or whatever happens. Instead of going through the court, instead of having to go through the state, instead of going through all the paperwork and legal paperwork, you have it set up in the loan as programmed so that when that happens, it starts a chain of events that automatically a protocol happens so that you legally get it back without having to do any of that stuff.
Hey,
Because it's written in there.
Vegas Coin has a question. He says, have
Yep.
you ever seen crypto ownership of rental properties?
No, I haven't personally, but I've heard of it. I mean, that's something I would love to get into. I would love to I would love to be able to organize a bunch of landlords or property owners who are willing to put all into one pool and do tokenization of it,
Absolutely, yeah.
Because what you can do with the tokenization of it, you can like tenfold the value of it.
Well, you have to have a community, and I know you talked about this.
And that's what
so
it takes.
It takes a community to build that NFT.
Listen, all these
up,
ideas
so-
that I have with all these things can be done, but it takes people willing to do it. And I don't own 100-unit apartment buildings.
Right.
I don't own 300 houses.
Right.
So
it's
I gotta
those
rely-
types of
yeah.
people that would take the NFT.
Absolutely.
As far as
I can
the collateral.
facilitate that or point in the right direction. In the crypto world, I know Charlie Lee, who's a creator of Litecoin.
Okay.
Or I know people that know him and different programmers and stuff like that. So it could get in the right hands of getting that resolved, but there has to be a market to do it first.
Yeah.
Period.
There's an interesting comment on there by Vegas Coin. It is in northern Ohio, for
some slumlordy houses. There you go. Yeah.
But here's what's interesting. One of my agents went and moved to Ohio, and she was going to start a property management company there. Ohio doesn't allow it. So in Ohio,
Doesn't allow what?
property management. In other words, if you own a rental, you have to manage it yourself.
Wow.
So
No kidding?
I don't know what the effect is of that.
I didn't know that.
What
in
kind
Ohio.
of backwoods? No, I'm just
No, I mean every
hillbilly bullshit.
Every state's a little bit different, and she went there with the idea of being able to start a property management company, and then she had to go into straight sales. But anyway, that was just kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, listen, we appreciate all the comments. We're going to end the show. You guys
Vegas
have-
Coin, Vegas. Bring me
guys
a
have
market for it. I'll facilitate it.
I
Dude.
got
We'll
one
make
other
some
comment.
money.
I'm curious.
I'm serious.
Okay, go ahead.
How many people out there realize that the Federal Reserve banks are private?
I know.
Are private? Oh, I mean, I think as
They
the
put
internet,
federal, so it
listen,
makes it look like it's government.
I think they're becoming more aware of it.
Yeah.
and
That's
how
what
much-
I'm trying to say.
So the point is that they're in bed with the government
Yep.
in controlling this, and somebody's making bank on the Federal Reserve, even on the Federal Reserve that's controlling.
He
all these
owns the
interest
most
rates.
gold, makes the rules. It's simple.
And if you guys didn't know who Rick Raines was, he's wearing a Rams shirt. He's saying go Rams. He was actually a lineman on the Rams at one point in his life, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, man, with those guns, you look like you could
Rick
probably-
was so badass, even the linemen didn't mess with him. Rick just looked at him like your mom.
I could see Rick on a Harley, man, just rolling
Yeah.
down. He's got the shirt off. You know what I mean? Just everything.
Rick is like Clint Eastwood in that movie where he comes along with those kids. It's like,
right. You got anything else to say,
that's
Rick?
Rick.
Hey, www.property-mgt.com. Give us a call. We'd be glad to talk to you.
Brett, what's up, buddy? Anything to say? Where's your website, man?
www.brettjenny.com.
I love it.
Pretty simple.
How about you, Doug? We want to appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you.
This guy is with Las Vegas Inspections. How does somebody get a hold of you, man? I mean, you got a website here, lvhomeinspections.com, so that's where you guys want to go check him out.
Yep.
You have anything else to say?
Nope. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Guys, thank you. This is the most behind the scenes and real information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas through on-job experience in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French, and we'll see you at the next stream. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Boom.
Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.